Well, welcome to Personal Bankruptcy Canada. I'm Wayne Kelly, and this is a place, of course, where we talk about financial issues that are affecting Canadians. And joining me, I've got David Smith on with me, who's a trustee in bankruptcy and the founder of Personal Bankruptcy Canada. Today, a great discussion about financial resolutions. We're all making resolutions, aren't we? Why financial ones?
Well, finances affect almost every aspect of our lives, and so absolutely financial resolutions are critically important in accomplishing the other resolutions that we also may want to put forward for ourselves.
Okay, so how do you go about creating a financial resolution?
So the first is really to understand where you're at financially, what you have coming in for income, what you have going out on expenses for regular living expenses, what your debts are, what are your debt payments. And from looking at that, then understanding what is realistic, can you do that will make your life better financially, and by it being better financially, it's better in many, many aspects, not just success of finances. And so you prioritize your goal. So if you're looking at and saying, I have some debt, I have some unsecured credit card debt, and I don't want to paying interest to banks. It's a waste of my money. Then come up with a plan that's your priority, is to reduce the interest you're paying to banks. How do you accomplish it? So your goal is reduce interest you're paying to banks. That's by paying off the debt over time. And to do that is really simple. You have to start putting more money on the debt every month, and you have to stop using the debt, the credit card in this example, as much as you have. So it's all about awareness and then coming up with a plan to say, how are you going to accomplish this, where you're going to spend less or make more money so you'll have more money to be able to put on the debt. And also recognize when you're done, when you've accomplished that goal of paid off the debt, paying no interest to the bank, how's your life going to be different, right? And it could be, for me, with my kids at the age they are, I'd like them to go to school, maybe beyond high school, so I want to have some RESPs for them. So right now I might be sitting here, I'll never be able to afford to help my kids get to school, but if I can see 6 or 8 months from now or 2 years from now I'll be debt-free, and I can start putting the same amount of money that I was putting on debt into an RESP for my kids, I'm going to feel really great. And it's going to help my kids feel like they're getting ahead and they'll have maybe more opportunities. And so it's a very worthwhile project to pay down the debt and stop paying the bank money.
You know, when it comes to making a resolution, I've always learned that the people who physically write down what they want to do and what their resolution or their goal is,
yes,
will be more successful. Do you do the same thing with a financial resolution?
Absolutely. So what I would suggest is that writing down a goal that you're not committed to is not going to really have the success as making sure that the goal that you do write down, you understand why you're committed to it, why it's going to make your life so much better that it's worth really solidly going after. And writing it down is your own personal commitment to say, it's in writing, I'm going to do this, and I know how important and why it's important to me. So writing it down is a great step. The other thing is, once you've written it down, success on some of these goals, read it. Read it daily. Read it weekly, but read it. Tell others that you trust, not others that say, oh, you'll never do it. You put that down last year too, and they're already kind of demotivating you to stick with it. Tell people that you trust will help you in a supportive way to accomplish this. And as you make a commitment to yourself, and then you expose yourself by saying to somebody you appreciate and that appreciates you, I'm going to do this, they'll be on your side helping you accomplish it by encouraging you and saying, wait a minute, how can we go out to that movie if we were supposed to be reducing our expenses? And they'll, in a very supportive way, helping. So writing it down, reading it, sharing it with others.
Three great points. And what about the people that say, well, I'm strapped, I don't have any extra? There's always places to find extra money, isn't there?
Well, and there is, and that's where creativity. We have, maybe in our society we're so used to just going to the store and buying something that's advertised on sale and it's similar to what my neighbor has. We've lost some creativity around this, and so when we're looking at finances, get creative. So understand where you're spending money. What could you do differently? One of the things that is a really easy thing to look at is saying, if I really like going out to for dinner, and usually I go out for dinner and I'll spend $40 for a dinner. Well, maybe you don't say, I'm not going to go out for dinner ever, because that's going to make me unhappy and I really enjoy the dinner. What is it about going out for dinner you like? Could you go out for dinner and only spend $30 instead of $40? Could you go out every month instead of every week? So you reduce the things that you're doing, but you're not eliminating, and you're getting most of the same value and happiness out of it. And maybe by going out less frequently, there's more appreciation for the times you do go out, and it's better value for your money, and you've saved money. So that's an interesting way to challenge people on, no matter what it is, can they get the same happiness but spend less out of it.
You do short-term and long-term resolutions?
Well, for a lot of people, that I'd suggest that, and the people that we're speaking to are the ones that have a credit card interest rate, right? That they're trying to stop paying the bank. That's a focus, and it might be a fairly short-term focus, or it might be a few years to get there. But absolutely, it should be, as I mentioned, what's the benefit for you when you accomplish the short-term goal? Then what? That it can go into an RESP. It could go into a house saving fund. It could be into a car replacement fund. It could be as simple as a winter tire buying fund, right? So you're planning for that expense down the road. So it is important to think longer term, but for a lot of this right now, it's the short term. Get your financial house in order, and then we can start to think about more varied short-term, medium, and long-term goals.
You have seen people who have changed their life. They've come into you with huge debt. They've paid off that debt because of your plans. They've worked with you. There's something freeing about when you become debtless. You feel like you don't need to spend the money anymore. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that just quickly?
I think that when you've got to the stage where you are debt-free, you recognize that you have more power in your life, and you're not a victim, a slave to debt. You're now making money that you're investing or setting aside for your own priorities for expenses, whether it be a trip or a car or saving for a house. And so you're in more control of your life. It's very freeing and empowering. And then you realize that when maybe the tough slog of living on less and paying down debt, you're not missing anything. You're not unhappy. So then you say, I've got this money. It's not like go out and open the valve and start spending again, because you realize it doesn't really improve your life that much. It's got there's a new sense of awareness of what makes a life interesting and worthwhile.
Oh, just fantastic advice. So everybody, once again, make sure you get your financial resolutions done. Any final words?
As financial resolutions are coming around and we're talking about how do you spend less money, I want to just relay a very brief story, and it happened years ago, but it was so fun and so meaningful. I want to share it again now. And I had a woman who had come into my office, and she was middle-aged, like I am now, and she was in a really rough financial situation. And she started on a program, and we were helping with her. And I met her a few months later on one of the counseling sessions that she came into the office. And she was so happy, and because she'd had this relief. And we're talking about spending less. She just was glowing, and she came and she said, David, I bought a whole new, everything you're seeing here is new. I bought new earrings and dress and shoes, and she said, and I spent $18. It was all second hand, and fit her budget perfectly, and she was thrilled. And she was like, what a bargain, I feel so great. And so it's not about spending more, it's spending wisely and seeing, you know, what kind of deals can you get, how do you accomplish your happiness with spending very little money, thinking creatively around it. It was so fun. She just was so happy. It was great to see.
Love those kinds of stories. David, thank you very much for being on the show today. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. It was great. Yeah.
You got it. And if you want more information, of course, you can just go to the website, personalbankruptcycanada.ca.